Assalamu alaikum. As you can see that we still haven't finished yet in this chapter, companies and corporations. One of the points I would focus on now for the next few minutes is a criticism of companies and specifically for corporations. There are some scholars and there are some scholars in commercial law who criticize the idea of corporations. One of them is Adam Smith, and Adam Smith as one of the famous names in economics. And I guess that you know Adam Smith. Do you? Yeah. One of the best names in economics, Adam Smith, in 19th century, criticized the idea of corporation, and he merely criticized the separation between owners and managers. As we had last week and the week before, I did mention a few times that we have owners of companies and we have people who control it. And people who control, we call them the managers or board of directors. This is why we have a separation between, in joint stock companies, we mean corporations. We have two main layers. Number one, basically we have the shareholders, the owners. And number two, in the top we have managers. We have board of directors in which they can control the company, they can take the lead. As you can see here, directors of such companies being managers, not the people who own it. They might own some shares. Those managers might own some shares of the companies, but this does not mean that they have the sole ownership. They don't own everything. They own part of this company, but they manage. They can take decisions on behalf of the shareholders. This would make a huge gap sometimes in between shareholders and directors. This led Adam Smith to believe that those people in a management committee, such a small number of directors, can lead, but at the same time they will not they will not watch over the company as if it was their own company. Adam Smith believed that there is a negligence. People don't care much about the company because it's not their own company, despite the fact that they have invested some money of their own. But those people don't believe that this only their own business, so they will not look at this business as if it was their own private business. It's open to all. Anyone can elect himself. Anyone can run for such a position, to be a manager, to be a director. But at the end of the day, we have a small number of people who call them board of directors. They can manage everything. But the rest of the shareholders, they will not. They just invest the money and they can have annual meetings. We have general committee, or they call it general assembly, الجمعية العامة, general assembly, in which you have thousands of shareholders. They cannot rule, they cannot manage, but they can watch over. But the only people can really manage are directors. This would lead sometimes to negligence, which can sometimes prevail ينتشر. Negligence. What's negligence? Do you know it? إهمال. This negligence by the board of directors, this can prevail on many affairs, in many issues. Listen, if you don't understand some terms, just you can ask me, you can stop me and say, well, I don't understand this word. Just don't keep me going and saying many things. At the end of the day, you might not understand what I'm saying. Just whenever you feel that it's a little bit difficult and there's some words you don't understand, you can stop me and say, well, this point, I don't get it. Okay? Good. That was not only Adam Smith. Even you're going to find later on next few slides, there are some scholars who criticize the idea of corporations. Adam Smith in the 18th century, he was talking about joint stock companies. Not now. He was talking about companies, corporations, about 150, 160 years ago. And at that time, corporations were created by the King of England by special charter. But we had at that time corruption, fasad. We had bribery. Bribery, what does it mean? Rashwa. And corruption, fasad. Those points, corruption and bribery, existed in companies long time ago. Why? Because we have the same scenario, the same case in which we have some directors not looking well at those companies. For them it's a job, it's a position. It's a privilege. It's not their own money they invested. It's a money invested by others, but those people would look after that business. And this is why sometimes such managers, local managers, sought to avoid supervision. They did not want to be subjected to anyone. And we have some examples nowadays. If you look back, 2008, what happened in the United States and some European countries nowadays, you will find many companies announce bankruptcy. Many corporations collapse and they have their own life ended because in many cases there was some mistake, not only mistakes, misuse or abuse of the management of that company by the board of directors, by the managers. Those managers were not acting in good faith. Those managers were doing their best to get the benefit for themselves, not for the company. Because for them, it's a position, it's a privilege, it's the money they can get. And some of them made lots of money at the expense of the shareholders, at the expense of the company, and they get everything for themselves. And this caused the collapse of some companies. Some of them used to get salaries, only salaries, millions of dollars per year. The highest salaries paid, highest, for those people who are working in big companies and corporations, and they are in the senior positions. Some of them get like $5 million, $10 million a year salary. Some of them get bonus, even bonus only, millions of dollars. So that would lead to corruption and bribery and abusing the position they have and avoiding supervision. This led at the end of the day Adam Smith to say, not even now, that long time ago, and we do have the same situation nowadays. Today we have the same situation with corporations. He said Adam Smith did not consider joint stock companies, joint stock, we mean corporation, joint stock corporation. He did not consider them to be honest. Not the joint stock company, but he did not consider the managers, the senior officers, the directors to be honest. That was not only Adam Smith. We have even others like Joel Beckham. He's a professor of law at University of British Columbia. British Columbia, one of the best universities in the world. One of the best. One of the top ranking universities in the world. It's called the British Columbia. I think it's Canada, in Canada. And Joel Beckham, teaching law at that university, as one of the writers, one of the scholars in law, he said, corporations are psychopathic here. He is a psychopathic creature. And what does it mean, psychopathic here? Look, sometimes we say about a human being, somebody is a psychopath. What does it mean? Go on. I'm listening to you. No comment at all? Do you understand what I'm saying at all in general? No? Yes? Yes or not? Okay. When I say about somebody he's a psychopath, it means that person is not stable in his mind. He cannot be consistent with himself. He cannot make final and decisive decisions. The same thing with the company here. I said those companies those companies cannot make sometimes decisive decisions, cannot be straightforward, can be hesitant. They cannot reflect the fact in which money is invested by many shareholders and we need to make a profit. And those here, natural living person, exhibit the same thing, considering features of antisocial person. As we consider sometimes natural living person to be antisocial. Companies would be sometimes at the same position. They can be antisocial. Companies just trying to make money, not to establish themselves well in the market, and that's his own opinion, believing that companies can be a psychopath, antisocial creature. Not only those two scholars, we do have, in addition to this, Noam Chomsky. psychopath شخص مضطرب مشوش. Yes. Naum, there's somebody called Noam Chomsky. Did you hear of this name? No? Noam Chomsky. Hánي, do you have any idea about him? Famous name. Did you hear anything about Edward Said? Yeah? Who was Edward Said? Is he? Right. One of the best was, I guess he was number one in the world. He was the best. He was the best. When he passed away, I think now one of the best in the world is Noam Chomsky. Noam, he's a Jew living in the United States. Yehudi, living in the States, and he is a linguist, but he's one of the best writers at all. He's one of the best in his own time today. Now, he had many articles and books about Palestine and the Palestinians, and he's defending the Palestinian case. I've seen many of his articles, how he defends the Palestinian cause. He defends the Palestinian cause. He writes in politics and in literature. When you say linguist, what does it mean, linguist? متخصص في علم اللغات. متخصص لغات, linguist. I describe here, and he did speak about corporations. He did not like the idea of corporation. He resembled corporations as a fascist system. What fascist? Fascia. Do you know it? Okay, what does it mean? Fascism. You have a small number of people controlling everything here. He has tight control at the top and strict obedience established at every level. Means the corporation having tight control at the top, directors having the control, the power, the authority, but down there we have many levels in which we have shareholders. All what they have to do is obedience. And he said, well, this is like fascism. Fascism, you have all a small number of people, that small number, this category, controlling everybody in the country. Everybody. What he said, he added, saying, that was Noam Chomsky. What did they say? Can you read it?
I would love to see centralized power in state.
Eliminated.
Whether it is the state or the economy, and have it reduced and ultimately under direct control of the bodies. I think that you do understand the difference between centralization and decentralization, do you? Okay. Now, Noam Chomsky does not like the idea of centralization. He likes decentralization by saying here, he does not like to see this fascist system in corporation. He wants to see this system eliminated, whether in the state and even in the economy. Not only in the state, as in politics, as in economics. He wants to see such power here, fascism, controlled by a small number of people, eliminated, and having what they having, direct control of what?
Or who's participant here? Shareholders. So they can take part, they can manage, they can run. He did not say how, but of course he might have something of mechanism to apply such rules. At the same time, he criticized the legal decision that to create modern corporation. He does not like the idea at all by saying here, like, yeah, there's something important. A human being can have the power and the money and the authority to make, to do, to create things. Imagine a company having thousands of human beings as shareholders. And those thousands, tens of thousands of human beings invested their money in one company. How much money would that company have? Lots. How much power this company would have? Something we cannot imagine. Now, this in one way or the other, if you look at the company as a creature, as a fictitious person, or as fictional person, the company usually has no power, nothing. We make it. But now, after we make the company, it becomes immortal. What's immortal? He said immortal person. What's immortal? Immortal. شخص لا يموت يعني باقي للأبد. Immortal person and having extraordinary. What's extraordinary? Something distinct, unbelievable. Something extra, so extra, wealth and power. And he does not like having such power given to the companies. Extraordinary power and wealth with immortal person. This company as a person might affect the economy, might affect the society, might has an impact on many people, many aspects of our life. So this is not something accepted by Noam Chomsky. In addition to this, what he said, like even though we create the companies, we make them, we establish them, sometimes those companies who are supposed to abide by the law, they don't abide by the law. What they do, they escape the restrictions. They have few constraints. What constraints? Limitations. قيود. Despite this, companies escape such constraints and do not abide by the law most of the time, or try to escape or avoid legal system. Right? This is why some people don't like such idea to have corporations. Now I guess we have to move to something new, a new subject. Do you have any question? Any question? No? How do you find it up to now? How do you find it? Easy, difficult? Difficult, isn't it? Anyone else find it difficult? Yes? How difficult is it? Do you understand everything? Or do you understand 50-50? Anyone understand more than 50%? Just raise your hand. More than 50%. More than 50. Raise your hand up. Only 4. And the rest of you. I just listen. I don't want just keep saying things and keep going. And if you don't understand, it's not good. What's the problem? Is it the language? The language or what? Subject? Listen, I'm not going to speak about the exam and how it's not going to be something you will not expect. Something will be easy. It's not like the midterm exam, of course, definitely. And I will evaluate you in a different way. I will evaluate you on your attendance for the class, participation, listening, asking, answering. I will evaluate you based on your activities in the class, not only the exam. I will not depend 100% on the exam, believe it. I will look at you. I know that you, small number here, and I know you well, and I would look at how much you participate in the class, how much you try to do your best, not just to miss the class or come late. No, not only the exam. No. Anyway, just if you don't understand one point, you cannot stop me. Say, well, this is a little bit difficult. I'm talking about simple things. I said that three main scholars did not like the idea of companies, corporations. They criticized it. because of so and so. Is it a difficult point? It's not. You're not focusing with me because you have exam maybe later, isn't it? Yeah. Don't think about the exam. Think about what you have in the class here. Now we still have in this chapter about 20 slides, less than 20 slides to go. And from now, we're going to have some entities, some business entities. Those business entities, we have 10 types of business entities. We have to look at them one by one. Some of them you find it difficult, not much really, a little bit, but some of those entities easy to understand and easy to explain. Number one, we have to talk about, it's called Consumers Cooperative. Consumers Cooperative. Did you hear about it? Stay with me here, Hani. Focus on this slide here. There's something called Consumers Cooperative. Do you have any idea about it? Not at all. Good. هي بالعربي الجمعيات التعاونية. Simple and easy, and people like it so much. Why? Because we have many advantages. We have many points to look at and understand here. For example, first of all, we look at the mutual benefit. Mutual benefit. This is something made for the benefit of the shareholders, not the shareholders. We call them members. Members. We have sometimes a small number of people, sometimes we have a huge number of people. You can imagine sometimes you're going to have 200 people, and you might have even 20,000 people. It depends on the type of the consumers cooperative here. No, that was something else. I know you're going to ask a question like this. That was a mutual benefit corporation. This one, consumer. Here we have consumers, customers. We sell. We have activities. We have transactions. But in that one, there was no transaction. And here we can gain money. You can gain profit. You can gain quality. But that one, you don't get nothing except of the activities and the service you have. Fine. Now, in consumers cooperative, it is a cooperative business. It's made by the customers. Imagine that. And I have example. I'm going to speak about the example before we start to make it easier for you. Imagine that at the Islamic University you have 22,000 students, isn't it? 22,000 students. And we have two canteens, one for male students and one for female students. This canteen revenue is lots of money, isn't it? Find how much money you spend per day. 2 shekels, 5, 10. It depends on your ability. Sometimes you don't spend nothing. You don't spend nothing sometimes. In overall, you might have on a daily basis at least 25 or 30% of students buying things. And the benefit goes for the owner of the canteen. We can have a new idea to have consumer cooperative. We can be the members. Students, 20,000 students can be members in the consumer cooperative. We can be, each one of us can be 10 shekels, only 10 shekels. If you count 10 shekels times the 22,000 or 20,000, how much would it be? Million? That's a million shekel, isn't it? A million shekel. It's a lot of money. Then you can run 2 canteens, and you can have even more than that. You can have the best food with the good quality, with hygiene, with the money coming back to the students themselves. So we don't invest in someone else. We invest in our needs. What we need to do. We have something in common. As students, you have something in common. You want to buy good food, hygiene, clean. You want to have high quality. You want to have it cheaper than outside. Then you can invest. Everyone can pay 10 to 20 shekels. That's for once, only once. And that's your money. That's your share. سهم أو أسهم. That's your share. You pay that for once and you keep it. And you become a member. You are a member in the consumer cooperative. Then you can be the customers. You can be the owners. And you can be the employees. We're not going to bring someone from outside. You can work as well. You can get the money. You can
get the food, you can get the benefit. If you have extra money at the end of the year, the extra money, we can invest it again in the consumer cooperative, or we can divide it between members. Easy? Imagine that would be a good idea. Not even the canteen, you can invest in the bookshop, في المكتبة. Why somebody should take your money? You can invest your money and you can get something better quality, which can be cheaper than the market. Now they have this, what is called mutual benefit. All your intention is not to gain money. The intention is to have a mutual benefit. We can do something, we can invest in that thing. Why should we depend on the market? Why should we depend on some merchants and business person and some companies? We can have a free enterprise between each other. In this class, in the Faculty of Commerce, you can have your own club. I mean, you have consumer cooperative for students who can sell books and stationaries. Stationaries هي نوع stationery. أدوات المكتبة stationery. أدوات المكتبة. You can sell stationaries, other books and articles and whatever things. So customers, consumers, are often paying the money, the individual. You as customers, you can pay the money. The capital can be provided by those people to launch, to start, to begin with such business entity. In such business entity, you have many types. We can have consumer cooperative for health care, insurance, housing, agriculture. Most of them we have in many countries, especially third world countries. Agriculture, جمعيات الزراعية التعاونية. Agriculture and utility cooperative, المنفعة والخدمات العامة. So it's based on the intention of some people and what they want to do and how much money they want to invest and how many people they want to join. I remember that a few years ago, the Palestinian Authority, they have something like this. Usually this is open only for the members, those members who are participating in consumer cooperative. Some consumer cooperative open their doors to the public, so the public can come and buy from there, and the benefit can go for the members. But in general, this is a limited type, limited to the members. We can be 50,000, can be 500,000 people. We are society, one society, مجتمع واحد, one society. We can have our own business. Why should we have something like this? Why can't we go for a company like limited liability company or partnership? Why can't we choose this type? What's the benefit? What's the advantage in this type, consumer cooperative? By the way, many people would like to go for this type. Many people like it because we have many advantages, as we will see in the last slide in this. Many scholars like the idea of having consumer cooperative. And once we finish it, we'll look how many advantages we have. What the benefit? What do you think? Yes. Low cost. Would be cheaper than the market and high quality. Like for example, if you want to buy a laptop like this laptop, which can cost you in the market £500, you might pay only £420 in the consumer cooperative, because the difference you will pay for the business as a profit, it's yours. You're going to take it back. Here. Now the purpose is consumer cooperative to provide quality goods and low cost, lowest, not even low, lowest, أقل سعر, with the lowest cost. In practice, you would sell the same as in the market. How much it costs in the market, you would sell. Let's say that this jacket costs in the market 150 shekels in the market. We have to sell it in the consumer cooperative with the same amount of money, 150 shekels. So what the benefit? If we can sell it the same like in the market, what benefit can we get? So what the point? You did not follow me well. Now, in the practice, we have to sell the price as competitive market price, the same. How much costs this computer? £500 in the market.
we have to sell it for £500 in the consumer cooperative. The same amount of money, but the extra money we can take it back. How? Look at this. There's something called the difference between the cost and the gain. We have how much it costs. Let's say it costs us $420 or dollars, and we can sell for 500. We have a difference in between. How much it costs here. We have two types of companies, profit and non-profit. What we have here, it's a consumer cooperative. It's not for profit. It's for our benefit. It's a mutual منفعة متبادلة بيننا, mutual benefit. Now, in the first time, I need somebody to read it here for me. Can you?
For the profit enterprise, will it create the difference between cost, including labor, and selling price as financial gain?
The $80, that's the difference. This, if it's a profit company, then we call it, what we call it? We call it financial gain. So, I made a mistake here. How much it costs and how much we sell. The difference in between them, this is the gain. The gain. If it's a profit company, this gain, it's a profit. When we have to pay tax for this. And this can be divided between shareholders at the end of the year. But in non-profit company and in consumer cooperative, don't read it.
The consumer-owned enterprise retain this sum of the consumer or owners as an overpayment.
It's called overpayment. So if it's a profit company, we call it gain. If it's a mutual benefit, we call it overpayment. دفعة زائدة. Extra money was paid, like I have paid $500 for the computer in the consumer cooperative, and this is a competitive price as equal as we have in the market. But at the end of the year, we have extra money. We made extra money. This extra money was not gain, was not a profit. It's called overpayment because I already have paid extra money because I know this cost me. It's my money. I invested. It cost me $420, but I paid $500, and I knew from the beginning that I paid $80 extra. And at the end of the year, this gain, this extra money, we might invest it back again in the same consumer cooperative, or we might divide it between, like, let's say that we have invested £1 million between 20,000 people, £1 million. But at the end of the year, we made £1 million. We get the money, and we made £200,000 extra. That's not a profit. It's overpayment. You might have a question like this. Overpayment. But this overpayment here, it's up to you, members. We can divide it between us as dividends, but this is not a dividend. It's overpayment. We made extra money, we take it back, or we can reinvest it. Okay? Now, consumer cooperative, we have many sizes. We have small size and we have large size. It depends on the number of people who want to join, and it depends on the amount of money invested in this. It depends on the two situations. We can have large consumer cooperative. You might have 20,000 people. What can you do here? If it's 20,000 people in consumer cooperative, it means it's a big large consumer cooperative. Then this would require some people to work. You might need chef. You might need a waiter. You might need a cleaner, isn't it? You might need managers. You might need a medical doctor. You might need a nurse. You might need many people and stuff to work for you. What can you do? We have to employ people from where? We look at the members. We can take it from the same society.
Like we needed a medical doctor, but we could not find any one of you medical doctor. What can we do? We need someone to look at the hygiene, someone a specialist in dietary. اللي تعرف الدايت. We could not find anyone. Then we can get someone from outside the society. He or she will be working for us, and we have to pay them. We have a staff. We have managers, clerks, products, customers, everything. We can even here open the doors to the business to be running. We can expand it. At the end of the day, that was not profit. It's mutual benefit. I will look later on, next slide or two, we'll see if we should pay tax or not. We have some people saying yes, other scholars said no. If it's a small business, small consumer cooperative, most likely we don't need anyone from outside. We can take some members, workers, can work from those members. It means that you can be consumer, member, invest your money, and you can be an employee. We get to the point sometimes in which we have some consumer cooperative having here cooperative wholesale societies, having their own factories. Like, again, coming back to the same example, looking at the canteens, having 22,000 students. How many sandwich you sell per day? 10,000 sandwich? Isn't it? Maybe more. Because you don't eat one sandwich, you eat maybe 3, 4 sometimes. Yes. Then, what you need to buy bread. Should you buy it from outside? Should you have your own bakery? If this is the amount of people we have, this is the number of people we have, thousands of people, we should have the bread. We should have something ready for them. We can buy it from outside. We can have our own factory. We can have our own bakery, in which we can have everything ready for the customers. So this would lead to have here, to sell even, having sometimes can have wholesale price. بالجملة بيبيعوا بالجملة بيشتروا بالجملة. You can buy, you can sell by wholesale price. I mean, consumer cooperative is not limited to a small number of people. And I know that some consumer cooperative having thousands and tens of thousands of customers. And some of them even can open the doors to the public. You can sell to them. You don't have to restrict yourself to your own members. Some of them open the doors to customers from the public, in which you can have to invest, or you can invest more money, and this money is paid by members. And this is why sometimes some scholars say you would have to pay tax because you get money. Because even if it's overpayment for the same society, but still this is questionable. Why should you pay less than other customers in the market? You get some money, you get a price less than what we're supposed to get in the market. The state facilitate everything. The state make the rules. The state make things easy for everybody. Then you would have to pay the tax. It's an opinion anyway. We will have to look at the governance. إدارة الشركة, management. The management of such consumer cooperative. How can we manage it? How can we manage? Do we have election? Yes. Imagine that we have 20,000 members. Who can manage? Who can run? Anyone? Isn't it? We have voting system. In companies we said, in corporations we said, if it's profit corporations, we have voting system. And how many votes could you have? It depends on how much money you invest. We don't have equal shares. We don't have equal votes. No. I might have 5 votes, you might have 1. It depends on the amount of money we invest. But in this time, it's not. One person, one vote. One member, one vote. It's a democratic system. Because it's not business anyway. We don't look at the profit. I don't look how much I can invest. I can be a member in consumer cooperative and I want to pay £2,000 and somebody of you can pay £200 only. But then each one of us will get only one vote. Only one vote. And we have board of directors. It's elected by the members, isn't it? It is. And this board of directors is responsible for what? Hánni, responsible for what? Board of directors. For? Yes.
Ensuring that the corporator
Meets
its
goals.
physical and other ones.
So this board of directors will do the same business as managers and companies can do. They can run the business, the consumer cooperative. They can act on behalf of the members, on behalf of the corporation, and they can hire agents. They can make contracts. They can do all types of transactions, and they can make the fiscal year, the budget. They can make the budget, how much we need to spend, how much we need to save each year. And they have a meeting. This meeting, it's once a year. A meeting once a year. But despite this, we have shares. Shares. These we have them a mutual owned business here, a mutual owned business, consumer cooperative. We don't have equal shares. Despite the fact we have equal votes, everyone would have one vote. But when it comes to money, what do you think? This gain we talk about, this gain. If let's say that we made at the end of the year, £200,000. This was overpayment. How can we divide it?
It can be divided according to how much everyone invested in the company.
Listen, look at this again. Stay with me here. Now we have one vote for every member. This money we make, £200,000, an overpayment. This should not be divided equally between all members as exactly the same shares, as exactly the same amount of money. This should be divided as per shares, as per shares, as per the money we invested, based on how much we invested. I might invest £10,000 and you invested only £200. We should get this money divided between shareholders based on the amount of money they invested. Equal to the sum they paid when they joined. Fine? How many slides left on this? Still, we do have some problems. We have, imagine that, let's say that we have 20,000 students. Okay, all of them are students at the Islamic University, and we have a consumer cooperative. How can we manage? We have election, yes. We voted and we have 9 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people. They are board of directors. How can they manage? They have no experience. This is a problem. Most likely people in consumer cooperative managers having no experience. As we're going to see in the next slide, then we need to educate them. I'm mixing between them. We need to educate them. I'll come back to that slide. We need to educate them because we have democratic government. It was elected by the members. Then most likely we will have people who are not educated well, who don't have experience, no skills, in which we have to invest in them. We have to let them know how to manage. We have to give them some educational materials. This is one of the problems we face sometimes with consumer cooperative. Coming back to the slide before, in which we look at the role of government, the tasks, the duties of this board of directors, those managers, those senior employees, senior managers, what can they do? What's their tasks? What can they do? They can manage, yes. They spend the money, they invest the money. This number of people in general who join the consumer cooperative, they invest their money to get some benefit at the end of the day, and to have a quality, and to have low price, then this input, this pecuniary, fiscal, financial, money, input and recover all forms of return. We pay the money and we get the gains. Everything is paid by members, and at the end of the year they have to get back what they have spent. We do have transparency, transparent nature of democratic cooperation. Transparency, شفافية, transparent, شفافية. This means we don't have to have inspections. We had many times, or as I said, I focused many times on this point, inspections. And I said that we do have inspection in all companies. Inspection is done by somebody. It's called company inspector. He or she belongs to the Ministry of Economics. They would watch over all companies, what they do, how much money they make, how much a profit they make, how they deal with customers. But in this type, consumer cooperative, what do you think? Do you have inspection? No. Why not? Why should we not have inspection? Why not? It's our business. It's our money. How you going to deal with your money? Are you not going to watch over? As a member in a consumer cooperative, you would look after your money, after your business. Then you would not need inspection by the government, because you are the best one to inspect. You are the best member to look after your money, because you're not dealing with customers, you're dealing with yourselves. You are the customer, and the one who invested the money, and the one who's working for this entity. Then there is no need for the inspection process or intervention by the state or by the Ministry of Economics. Good? Still 1 point or 2 points. Tax. Should we pay tax? What do you think? The money we have here, the overpayment, or the gains we have. Some people call it overpayment if it's a business, and if in a consumer cooperative they call it overpayment. Should we pay tax or not? Yes or no? No. Why not? Good. Fine. Why not?
Because they don't gain it as income, or they invested for the company and for the society. They don't gain it for themselves.
Okay.
It's not a profit.
It's not.
This is not for profit.
It's not. Some scholars say, some claim that this is surplus. What surplus? Extra amount of money, payment, and even we return it to the owner, the consumer, should be taxed. Should be taxed. Why? Because this is equal. It's equal. Overpayment, but equal gain. It's equal to the profit. So even we don't call it a profit. We don't say it's a profit, but it's equal to a profit. Then we have to pay tax. Others said, no, this is not tax. We should not pay. Sorry, this is not a profit. Then we should not pay tax. Others say, consumer cooperative do not retain a profit. It's not a profit. And by traditional meaning and definition, this is not a profit. It's an extra payment, overpayment, and we take it back. It's our money. We paid it and we get it back. Then there is no need to pay tax, because this is not a profit. And still, now it depends on each country. It depends on the jurisdictions of each country, what they decide to pay tax or not to pay tax. This is left for the jurisdiction of each country to decide exactly what to do with it. The last point in this consumer cooperative is the focus of a study. The focus of a study. This point, this entity has been a focus of a study by many law departments, by many institutes, by many legal scholars, have been focusing mainly on this type because they have many advantages. And this type, consumer cooperative, they said it's one of the best. It's one of the best entities we have at all. Why? Because we have some advantages, one of which, let's say here, look at them one by one. Focus of study, field of consumer cooperative economics. Why? Can you read it for me? Advocate. Yeah.
Advocating such organizational forms, claiming a broad set of benefits, including
These benefits, what we have, what kind of benefits we have?
economic democracy.
One is democracy
and justice.
and justice.
Transparency,
Yeah.
greater product purity, and financial benefit for consumers.
So it's not only about the gain and the quality and this amount of money. We do have as well democracy. We have election. We have people who can manage. We have people who can vote. It's a system of justice and equity in which we have to adopt in such type of business. This is why many people nowadays think about it, despite even we don't have it. Practically, we don't have it. Look in Gaza, how many consumer cooperatives we have? We don't. Maybe we have one or two, maybe not. But it's something missing here in our field, despite the focus on theory, on this consumer cooperative as a business entity, but in a practical life, we don't have it much. It's not much implemented. I mean, I guess that for people, they have to learn it. They have to take the benefit of this type and apply it. What do you think, you? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you? Yes or not? No opinion? Abstain? متحفظين يعني؟
No, it's a good.
أقول أنا؟ Anyway, I think it's a good idea. We should adopt it. We should implement it in our life. Let's take only one slide here. One additional slide. But before we go to this slide, I want to again evaluate what we have up to now. I mean, for this consumer cooperative, we have about 6 slides in one entity. And I think we have to focus on this time again, and I think you have to read it again at home and to study well. Look at the book and look at the slides and see, like, if you want to follow me here on the slides, that's good. And you have to look at the points one by one. I think the information we have not difficult, but what you need to do just to read them again and again. And there are some new words and terms, some new legal terms. You have to study them and to understand exactly what they mean. And then if you have any difficult terms or word, you can come back to me. I will translate it to you. We'll take this slide. Partnership, because next time when we come to the class here, we have 3 types of partnership. We have 4 types. Partnership, this one, we call it general partnership. When we see this is number 1, general partnership. Then we have limited. And then we have limited liability partnership, and then we have limited liability, limited partnership. Then we have 4 types of partnership. The one you hear about always or most of the time, this is the original one. This is what we have in Palestine. This is what you have in most countries in the world. This is number 1, partnership. بشكل عام, in general, and we call it sometimes GP, general partnership. In this type here, it's a business entity. We do have shares. We have some shares. We do have shares. And we have owners. We don't call them shareholders. We call them partners. We call them partners, not shareholders. So we have here owners having shares, making a profit or losing sometimes. You're not making a profit all the time. Sometimes you make a profit and sometimes you lose. And this is business life. Today you make money, tomorrow you might lose. Most likely we make money. Once we invest, we plan, we design our business in the right way, and this would help us to make more
money. This type in partnership, you have most likely small number of people, small number, and this small number of people can be between 2 till 50. They might be friends, most likely family members, people who trust each other. Like you in the class here, you know each other very well. You might have a partnership. You might invest your money in something like this because you know each other and you have the trust, and you can look after your money. But here, and many people go for this type because it's a small type of business. You don't invest much money. You know each other very well. You trust each other. And the tax, even here, we don't pay much tax. We pay once. It's not like in corporation double taxation as we had last time. It's once we pay tax. Despite all of this, however, we have one disadvantage, one main disadvantage, which is unlimited liability. In limited liability companies or limited companies or corporation, we have limited liability. But in this type, we have unlimited liability. And this is the main problem. I mean by this, if the partnership lose the money, it means the loss of partners as well. It means the risk is high. The risk is high. I would not lose only the money I invested as a partner. I might lose even my personal money. It's not only limited to the amount of money we invest. As we have a limited liability, we have only to lose the amount of money we invested. But in this type, we can lose more than this. If I invest £10,000, I might lose them, and I might even lose my private money. And this we will look at it when we have bankruptcy. We will look at this situation. How much money you can lose, what we can take, how can we sell them, how can we divide them between creditors. But in general, as you can see here, next time we will look at the other types of partnership, and you would see the difference between them. The main difference between partnerships is based on liability, because this type having unlimited liability, but the next few types you're going to have sometimes limited and sometimes mixed, limited and unlimited liability based on each type of them. It's not the same. But take it in your mind, or keep in your mind, that general partnership, this is the type, and this is the main type. We had it a long time ago, and we still have it up to now. And next time we're going to see limited partnership. A limited partnership, we have some GPs here. The partners we call them GPs, general partners. Next time we're going to see GPs and LPs, limited partners. Based on the example we have today, we're going to have many examples next time, and we'll have to be careful how to differentiate between these all types. I want you to look at home at these slides and the book, and try to understand other types of partnership, because it's not going to be easy sometimes to distinguish, but we have to look at them carefully. I want you to review at home what we have today well, and I want you to be ready for the next class, because I know that we have many details, and we have to pass this semester well, and we have to focus on this chapter, because this chapter we have in companies and corporations is the longest chapter. It's the longest, and at the same time it can be sometimes difficult in some points, because we can mix between more than two entities. Meaning, I want you just to focus at home and to study as much as you can, and if you have any question at any time, I will be ready to answer that. Okay, thanks very much for your time, and I'll see you Tuesday.